Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, global markets reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have John Phillips, co-founder of PredictIt, the stock market for politics. We'll be talking about the Pennsylvania and Alabama elections, as well as Boris Johnson's tenure as prime minister. John, it's great to see you. Happy New Year. Welcome back to Trade Talks.
It's 2022. I've been waiting for this all year.
Yes, we all have, and we're only 3 days in, but that does not mean that there's anything boring about U.S. politics.
An election year. Yes, exactly.
Taking a deep breath there. Only the good things in this year. Let's talk about the Pennsylvania election. What are they thinking in terms of Senate nominations here?
Well, you got everything going with Pennsylvania. You got a Trump endorsement that didn't work out. You've got a spousal abuse allegation scandal. And then you've got on the Democratic side, and that's just the Republican side. And then on the Democratic side, you've got, a perfect battleground for the Democratic centrists and the Democratic left to decide who's calling the shots. So it's great. So first on the Republican side, Jill, there's the investment banker David McCormick from Bridgewater had just stepped down today to prepare for a run for the United States Senate. His price spiked by 7 cents. He's now at 60 cents. And his chief opponent is Dr. Oz, who is at 23 cents. He dropped 2 cents overnight, and this reflects, the fact that it's kind of like Virginia with the front runner, but you never know, and it's Pennsylvania, and that's the Republican side. Now, Trump had endorsed a candidate, Parnell, who dropped out of the race because of an allegation of spousal abuse. On the Democratic side, you've got John Fetterman, who's the Secretary of State. Fetterman was active in pushing back against allegations that the election was stolen. He's running against, so he's to the left of Connor Lamb, the more centrist Democratic congressman. Fetterman's at 63, Lamb is at 36. This is going to be a tight race. There's some angst that Fetterman may be too far to the left to win in Pennsylvania, which is drifting to the right. But who knows? So that's going to be another race to watch, and it pits the party's left against the centrists for control of the party in Pennsylvania.
And that seems to be the issue that we have been coming into with all of the local elections, of course, the national election. Forgive my ignorance here, but does Dr. Oz have any governing experience behind him?
Not that I'm aware of, which is not to say he doesn't, but he's a well-known, popular, wealthy pitchman, and he's got a lot of fans who believe ardently and follow his pronouncements.
Right.
Whether that's enough to convince people he's going to be a good United States senator, who knows? There have been stranger senators elected in the history of the Republic.
So, John, let's move along to Alabama, because I think what's interesting here is I think Trump's endorsement really is being put to test here, really for I wouldn't say the first time, but this really seems to be the defining point of the Alabama nomination.
It sure is, and there's some interesting candidates. So first of all, you've got the Republican Congressman Brooks that Trump endorsed, as you point out. Now, this is the second Trump endorsement we're talking about today that may not turn out to the way that the former president would have liked. And in fact, the rumor is that Trump is disappointed and perhaps wishes he had not endorsed Brooks to begin with. Brooks is running against Katie Britt. Now, Britt has surged into the front. She's at 55 cents to 43 cents for Brooks. And then there's Mike Durant. Here's an interesting guy. He was the helicopter pilot on the Mogadishu Black Hawk Down episode. And he was shot down and captured. And so Durant's at 9 cents, but you want to keep an eye on him. All three of these candidates are running as very conservative candidates. And of course, Brooks is the one with the Trump endorsement.
Right. And let's talk about Boris Johnson. I mean, as far as I understand it, he should technically not be called for election till 2024, but aren't predicted traders pricing in how long his tenure will be?
Yes, they are. And predicted traders think he's going to be, the market is, will he be remain as prime minister through May? And by 75% odds, predicted traders say, yes, he will. So Johnson has some flexibility in terms of, or leeway in terms of when he's going to call the election. It doesn't have to be till 24. So we haven't heard the last of Boris Johnson, and we can expect he'll be, at least predicted traders think he'll be in charge until at least past May. Now, you know, there's this party gate, which we talked about last week. It doesn't help that there's video of Johnson hosting a party at the height of the pandemic. And the messaging on this is just horrible. Just ask Gavin Newsom if you need evidence of that.
Right. Well, I mean, time kind of heals all wounds, and people tend to forget as the next issue comes to, you know, the media headlines. So when you say that they can call an election in 2024, is it like the states where they're on a regular cycle when it comes to elections, or can he call an election earlier? Is it different than U.S. politics? That's where I'm confused.
He can call an election earlier, and the prime minister has great leeway in terms of when the election will take place. And this is all part of the art and science of politics in a parliamentary system, in particular in the UK. So Johnson has the ability to call an election at any point. But he doesn't have to call it when his popularity is at its nadir. And so his assumption is just hang on and hang on and hang on, which is a skill set that Johnson's developed, and coming back. I wouldn't count him out yet, but it's perils of Pauline.
Interesting. All right, John, we appreciate the insight as always. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you, Jill. Happy New Year.